up, guys? I'm Carter, one of your three hosts for the Just Three Brothers podcast. Uh, and today we are going to be discussing Dragon Ball Z, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about another what if. And this one is what if Gohan didn't stop training after the events of the Cell Saga, and maybe he could have potentially became the new main character of the series. So I'm going to toss it over to Dallas.
Hey guys, it's Dallas here, aka Hulkbusters for those who follow me on YouTube and Twitch. Today, like he said, we're going to be talking about the boy wonder, and that's Gohan. He was one of the most influential characters in the whole Dragon Ball franchise for me. Ever since he came out of the pod in the Raditz saga right at the beginning in the Sand saga, when he hit Raditz in the chest, cracked that armor, peeled it back, you seen he had a power level of 1300. Like that was big boy back then. Like the fact is, Goku and Piccolo were the two uh, main characters in the story at that point, and even them combined only had a power level of 770, I think it was. So the fact that that little boy in a fit of rage got to 1300 power level, that was crazy. I think Piccolo's special beam cannon was only 1400, so like that just goes to show like how powerful that little man was. And he had a lot of progression throughout the story. And the thing about Gohan, it was nice to see Piccolo pick up the mantle of his dad once Goku passed away and really, take him out in the middle of the woods. If you can live for 6 months, kid, I'll train you. And oh, he's sad. I'll throw him an apple. You know what I mean? Watching him go Uzabru and rampage in the planet. It was just really exciting to see. And I think it was when Piccolo got killed, or yeah, got killed by Nappa, I think is when he went kind of crazy again. And you got to see a little burst of his power. It was just, he's one of those guys who's always had that inner potential that could just, change the whole series if used properly. It just, I don't know. I always feel like he didn't really get his time to shine until finally in the Cell Saga.
Yeah, it seems like they were almost trying to kind of set it up even from the beginning of the series that Gohan is the strongest character. It seemed like they were kind of trying to set that up, when he comes out of the pod and oh wow, he's way stronger than both Goku and Vegeta. He's matching even Raditz's power level. And then once Piccolo is training him, he goes Uzaru form, and then Piccolo even has struggles to take him out. It seemed like they just really wanted to kind of take this approach where, in the original Dragon Ball series, Goku was a kid and he was the main character. It almost seemed like they were kind of going the route of, okay, so now we're gonna have Gohan or Goku's son become the new protagonist of the show. But that never really happened in the Frieza saga. We didn't really get to see Gohan do his thing, and then it seemed that they almost brought it back during the Cell Saga that, okay, we're going to continue this route of Gohan, you know, potentially becoming the main character of the series, but obviously that never came to fruition as in the Majin Buu saga, he kind of fell off and took to his studies instead.
I think that that's such an interesting point. And I'd have to agree with that. I do think that Gohan kind of did have this passing of the torch kind of vibe with Goku and how they were, setting up these key points in the series where it seemed like he was going to be the top contender. Once they go to Namek, I felt like they really pulled that back. Gohan didn't really do much on Namek if you really look at it. And Namek was a massive, long arc. The Namek saga, I don't think he did anything of relevance, which was unfortunate. But once they get back, we do kind of get that more of they kind of, it seemed like they went back into the lane of setting him up as this great character. I think that Gohan is such a hot and cold character in the Dragon Ball Z franchise. In some moments, I think he shines brighter than any of the characters, and in other parts, he's more gutted than ever. I think basically the Namek saga, or any time where Gohan has the black mushroom cut, he's pretty cucked. He's pretty terrible. He's more of an annoyance. I also have never really enjoyed the child voice actor for Gohan. I've always thought it was kind of this whiny little kid, which was always
Wasn't he the same voice actor as Goku in the original series?
I think so. I think that might be the case, but I've never just liked the way that they did it with Gohan. I'm not necessarily saying that I didn't like the voice actor in the sense that like it wasn't a good fit. I think that Gohan's voice is really iconic, but the way that it's implemented, he's always kind of whining. There's times where he's like always like, "Daddy." It's just very it feels very played out. And it's always unfortunate because, like you say, they were building up this character that seemed like he was eventually going to be the strongest of all the Saiyans. And then they pulled the plug on that once he went Mystic. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I think that arguably Mystic Gohan, when I first saw it in the series, and this is when he's fighting Super Buu, Mystic essentially made it so that you are as strong as you'll ever be. You're not able to go Super Saiyan anymore. This is what was described at the time. Obviously, it was retconned, and they didn't care about that in GT and all that sort of stuff when he's still going Super Saiyan. But I believe Mystic Gohan, that was the last time that he ever went Super Saiyan in the Dragon Ball Z series. I could be wrong on that, but basically the way they set it up was with this Kai unlocking his hidden potential, he is now at his apex of strength, but he can't get any stronger. That was the whole setup for Mystic. So it seemed very cool. And at the time, he was actually the strongest character in the series when he went Mystic. He was stronger than Goku Super Saiyan 3. So that's pretty formidable for sure. But what it did also is Gohan always had this rage factor, and I think that that's a part of his key character structure that a lot of people liked. You know, with the Raditz headbutt, there was the rage factor. When he went Super Saiyan 2 for the first time and defeated Cell, that was the rage factor that made the Super Kamehameha really shine there as well. So he's always had this rage factor. It seemed like such an odd choice to now have this character not be able to tap into his rage factor or get any stronger because Mystic just capped him out. It seemed like a character that had no ceiling was all of a sudden had a roof put over his head. And that was always unfortunate to see because I really thought that Gohan could have been a lot better. I feel like he could have had a lot of impact. And then obviously the Great Saiyaman was probably one of the worst decisions they've ever made in the series. I had this whole Power Rangers kind of Common Rider kind of thing. It didn't really do it for me at all. And I feel like the whole Golden Star saga, which although it was only a few episodes, when it's showing him going to high school and bopping around and trying to, you know, get it going with not Val. What's that? Videl, right. I don't know why I want to say Velma, but yeah, Videl.
It was Scooby-Doo is coming in, you know, the collaboration between the two.
Oh man, I feel like that was very cringy, and it's so unfortunate when you see a character who is you know, built up in a certain way, even though I feel like the Namek saga was kind of, he was just there, much the same as Krillin. It felt like Krillin was just there to be killed off for Goku to tap into that next level. Gohan never really, other than the Namek saga and the other ones, felt like he was just there. You know, he always had this like hidden rage and always had this like ability to go to that untapped kind of power. To see him get gutted and now he's wearing a super outfit and fighting crime, I think that that was terrible. I think that anything Saiyaman related is an abomination to the series. I think that it should just have never existed. But what I think happened, and obviously this is just speculation, but I feel like I'm really good at picking up on like social cues and stuff like that. And I think I really, it seems like what they originally were going to do is that, you know, for the Saiyan saga, I feel like once Vegeta left, that was probably one of the last times that we ever saw Vegeta, when he left in the Saiyan pod. Or they could have had it so Krillin actually did slice him with the katana when he's leaving, and that would have been it for Vegeta. But what I think happened is I think Vegeta was such a popular character that they decided to bring him back. And when they brought him back and they tried to add him to the Z Fighters, I think they really that was kind of the right choice. I feel like, although Vegeta to me is another hot cold character, in a lot of ways I think he's great, in a lot of ways I think he's pretty bad, just as far as his character development. But I think what happened was they initially didn't have plans to have Vegeta be anything more than a villain. So I think that after Vegeta took off, I think that they could have had it so it was really just Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma. And I think that it seems like that's what they wanted to do in some regard, because there was kind of this, you know, GT feel of, hey, we're going to another planet. There's kind of adventure and stuff. But then you realize that there's no way that could have worked because there were fighters like Zarbon and Dodoria, and there's no way that Krillin or Gohan could have dealt with them. Maybe Bulma could have, but those two definitely couldn't have. But like I say, that's just merely speculation. It's very unfortunate that the Gohan that we got is a very different Gohan that we all expected, especially if anyone saw the BoJack movie. I think that super highlights just how daunting and crazy Gohan's strength can get to.
The thing for me is that Gohan's always just been like you said, up and down, like never really shining until the Cell Saga. He had a moment on Namek, if I remember correctly. It was either against Raccoon or against Frieza, where he kind of went crazy and started giving like a barrage of Kai blast that kind of put him on the fence. I can't remember if it was Raccoon or
That was
Frieza.
Raccoon, I
Was it
believe.
Raccoon? So that was his little moment to shine. Like obviously, I think it was Krillin and Gohan who did defeat Gildo or whatever, and then Raccoon just wiped the floor with all the Z fighters, including Vegeta, right? And then Goku obviously comes back to save the day. But like you said, he never really had that real time to shine, you know? And until he went Super Saiyan in the hyperbolic time chamber with Goku, that was the first time that you ever thought that there could be more again with this character. Like watching the first 6 episodes or 7 episodes of Dragon Ball Z when he gives Raditz the old headbutt and you see that potential. You envision this character that's going to be taking the mantle. You know what I mean? He's literally twice as strong as Goku and Piccolo together. So you assume that that's who's going to be, basically the forefront of the show eventually. And then, like you said, he had his little moment to shine in the Saiyan saga when Vegeta and Nappa were there. But other than that, they literally just left him with nothing on the Namek saga. Like he did, other than gather a few Dragon Balls and talk to Dende, like he did nothing. Like even after, especially the problem that I really had is when the Elder Guru on Planet Namek unlocked his full potential. You'd think it would have done something. You know what I mean? You think if it unlocked his full potential, he would have like been on another level, but like he was just so easily, all three of them were just dumpstered by Raccoon. So it's like, so then he didn't have a moment to shine in the Frieza saga. And he literally did nothing in the Android saga until the very end. After he went in the hyperbolic time chamber, he was nothing. Like there was Vegeta Super Saiyan, Trunks Super Saiyan, Goku Super Saiyan, and then there's just little whiny Gohan. It was when he went in the hyperbolic time chamber from when he was 11 years old. So technically he's 12 years old, but he's 11 in canon. But the problem with that is like until he went in that and spent that year with his dad and actually trained in the hyperbolic time chamber under the extra gravity and the harder to breathe and like kind of got back to that grassroots of him being Gohan again, like out stranded in the wilderness alone. That's when you like when he finally first see that Super Saiyan transformation, you're like, okay, this kid is 11 years old going Super Saiyan, so obviously maybe he is going to be the big boy. And then you find out that that's Goku's ace in the hole the whole time in the Cell tournament because Goku goes first to get Cell. And everyone's like, why would you go first? Like, why would Goku go first? Let Piccolo, let Trunks, let Vegeta, let somebody else go first. But no, Goku goes in there, fights him basically to a stalemate. But he's like, yeah, I'm getting tired. You're not getting tired. Like, I'm just going to tap out. I forfeit. And
Didn't he
everyone's
give
like,
him a
He
Senzu
gave
bean
him a
as well?
Senzu bean
yeah,
as well.
after he gave up, before he fought Gohan, he gave him a Zenzu bean to heal to full health. And Piccolo's like, "Are you crazy? You're gonna kill your son. Like, are you insane? Like, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh no, he's got it." And honestly, he didn't really have it. Like he
For the
did okay.
first little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Goku's
for the
like,
first.
oh shit, fuck, maybe I made the bad decision here.
What did my dad get me into?
Goku, he's killing him.
I know, and everyone's freaking out. Like this is your ace up the sleeve. Even Cell's like, "Are you kidding me? That kid is like the one that's gonna do it." But then obviously 16 comes in, sacrifices himself. He almost, I feel like even without 16, he was almost getting to that point of going Super Saiyan 2 because of everybody on his team getting dumpstered by the Cell Juniors. So even Kamikola,
Piccolo.
is that his name? Kami and Piccolo? Kamikola or something?
Dude, they've never once called him Kamikolo. Let's relax, dude. Just call
I,
him Piccolo, bro.
I swear it's Kamikolo. Okay. Sorry for all you hardcores out there. It's not Kamikolo. But anyway, so Kami Piccolo.
There's never been a Kamikolo, by the way.
Okay. So Kami and Piccolo, when they fuse together, he has the shining moment in the series where he's actually finally the most powerful character, even if it was only for 4 episodes, four episodes. It wasn't for very long, but he managed to get the upper hand with Cell. He managed to go against Android 17. But even he was getting his butt kicked by the Cell Juniors. Even Vegeta and Trunks, like they were handling themselves. So was Goku, but I mean, everyone was really getting overwhelmed by the Cell Juniors. So I was like, I thought that he was going to go Super Saiyan 2 then, but it obviously took Android 16 blowing up to really showcase his rage factor, you know, tapping into that untapped potential that he didn't have up until that point. Like you literally, in my opinion, you seen it in the sand pod at the very beginning, and then like 150 episodes later, you finally get to see like him come full circle and actually be the most powerful character in the series. And when he went Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, I think there's a couple moments, Majin Vegeta's final atonement that I really love, but I mean that Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, like that really it was so I played Dragon Ball Z Kakarot recently, and I love the re-rendered version, and it just looked so amazing, and feel him go in Super Saiyan 2, and then the whole beam battle with Cell, it was epic. Like it just he was ahead of the curve, you know, and they finally gave a character that originally when I first watched Dragon Ball Z as a kid, I thought he was gonna be the main character. And then to what like Catlin said, in Namek, he was just like an extra. You know what I mean? Just on set, hanging out. Oh, I'll pick up a Dragon Ball, but it was nice to see him actually be able to be the one, yeah, that defeated Cell the final time. I guess Goku defeated Cell the first time, but then Cell came back as Ultra Perfect Cell, and then had the Kamehameha beam battle with Gohan and the father-son Kamehameha for the first time.
I
Kamehameha.
think that that's the problem that I had with, especially obviously the Saiyaman's introduction, like I talked about. But the reason why it was so just confusing and upsetting was because this was off the heels of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and that's him using the Super Kamehameha. So to see that kind of raw power and just the amount of strength he acquired with training and the tip of the hat to Piccolo, because he's donning the purple outfit that Piccolo is wearing. If you notice, Gohan very rarely in the series ever wears his dad's classic orange and blue. He does a little bit, especially when he goes Mystic, but most of the time he's either wearing some Saiyaman outfit with the green and black, or he's wearing the Piccolo stuff. He's even wearing some of the Saiyan armor on Namek. So it's kind of interesting to see how he's one of the characters who has the most diverse kind of look to him. But right off of the heels of a Super Kamehameha and a Super Saiyan 2 transformation, it was so unfortunate to see him get completely obliterated. It seemed like he was more or less non-existent in the Buu saga, other than when he did go Mystic. I can't think of any really shining moments that Gohan had. And then if you go further than that, once Kid Buu entered the fray, there was nothing that Gohan had to do, really. He had basically become a side character, as Dallas had described. And then obviously I know that these boys don't really hold it that true of a work as I do, but I think in GT, Gohan might as well not even have been in that. You know, he's just a boomer dad with glasses. Sometimes he's holding a book. Like, I just think it's so odd that the whole time he's trying to save the world and fight with the Z fighters, his mom is always saying, "Oh, stick to your studies, stick to your studies." You know, there's even movies where like she has him doing homework, and you know that Icarus dinosaur has to sometimes sneak in the window and be like, "Come on, let's go, you know, fool around, no more homework." And then amidst all of that, in his final days, he's doing homework as an adult, and this is when he realizes what is on the line. You know, Earth is on the line. His friends' lives are on the line, but no, he's I got to stick to my books. So I've always just think that was probably the worst character development out of any of the characters. I think that there's a lot of kind of weak character development in general in Dragon Ball Z, as much as I love the series. But I think that Gohan is just a travesty to see that he didn't end up becoming the main character. And then what's so annoying to me is that it seemed like the natural progression was to make him the main character, as Carter stated. But there always seems to be this theme of Goku's on his way. Come on, guys, don't worry, Goku's on his way. Goku always seems to sweep in from Snake Way or from the pod, the Capsule Corp pod going to Namek. They're always kind of just waiting for Goku to save the day. And I think that that's really weak writing. I think that obviously it made sense in Dragon Ball because he was the main character. But I feel like in Dragon Ball Z, they didn't really know what they wanted to do until they started to feel a rhythm with basically the two pure Saiyans, Vegeta and Goku. And once they found that lock-in formula, they really didn't stray far from it. It was basically Goku and Goku and Vegeta who were on top of the mountain for the longest time.
Even in Dragon Ball Super, you'd think that they would give Gohan some time to shine and show his true potential, but even in Super, he's back to his studies, he's arguably one of the weakest characters in all of Super. I believe he had a little moment in the Resurrection F where he goes Super Saiyan and takes out a bunch of Frieza's guys or whatever. And then obviously in the Tournament of Power, him and Piccolo are putting in work on a couple of those guys. But other than that, he hasn't done much in Super either. So it's really unfortunate to see that they just built this character up and then just crashed him into a building, and now he's nothing pretty much.
So one thing I will say, and that's the difference between the manga and the actual anime. So in the manga, Gohan actually either defeated or went toe to toe with Kefla in the manga,
Hmm.
and which, like, that's one of the strongest characters in up into the series at the time. The only person that defeated her obviously is Ultra Instinct Sign Goku. So it's a little bit of a different adaptation, but they still, like you said, they never really gave him his chance to shine. Yeah, sure, they gave him he was the leader of the Universe 7 team or whatever, but like, really, what did that mean? Like, even at the very beginning when the Tournament of Power started, everyone didn't listen to Gohan. They just each went and did their own thing. Frieza left, number 17 left, Goku and Vegeta left. It was just like, so basically it was just Goku and Piccolo, or Gohan and Piccolo, sorry. So it's like, I don't know. Like you said, they just build him up so much, and you expect these great things, these amazing things, this character to just like, break through the limit of all the Super Saiyans, and then just like nothing. Obviously, he was the one. It's funny how they, like Catlin said, maybe it's just they didn't really know what they wanted to do, because on Bobity's spaceship, obviously they had the rock paper scissors to decide who was going to fight. I can't even remember the first guy's name, the little guy with the white helmet with the M on it. I can't remember him, but Vegeta defeated him, and then Goku got the rock or whatever, so he went against Pecan on that planet, destroyed him, and then Gohan got to do battle with Dabura for like a minute, and then Boo was out, and then Gohan got wiped out, and it was just, I don't know, just really unfortunate to see all those times in the study books. Like, if he would have took that time to actually train, and you get 2 shots in your life to go to the hyperbolic time chamber, so like, why wouldn't he take it? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you, when you're literally, especially when your dad's dead, you're literally the most powerful character, you and Vegeta, like, why would you not go train with Vegeta? Like, can you imagine if that whole time, because I think it was from him being 11 to 16. So that's 5 years of training that he could have got in. What if he would have trained with Vegeta the whole time?
So I think we should hop on that segue and kind of ride it into, since you mentioned it. What if Gohan never went back to his studies after defeating Cell? He has this epiphany, this realization where he's like, "Holy shit! My dad's dead. I need to kind of take the mantle and become the most powerful fighter here now that
which
I've."
which feels like that should have been the absolute
It was
obvious
supposed to end,
Mhm.
boys. It was supposed to end. Akira Toriyama, or whatever, however you pronounce it, literally said,
Toriyama.
Toriyama literally says that he initially, when he was writing the manga, that he literally was done after the Cell saga. That was it. That was supposed to
which
be it, which makes
which makes
sense.
sense. When you take a step back and look at that, it does make a lot of sense if that's what he was originally planning. But like I say, I mean, Carter hit the nail right on the head with that one. I think that if he didn't go to hit the books after the Cell saga, which is kind of funny that you think about it that he did, because now nothing's ever been more on the line than it had been at that point. He's Super Saiyan 2. He just defeated the strongest entity they've ever faced. And who knows, there could be even more entities on the horizon. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z, they always have some kind of entity that wants Earth for some reason. But I think that that's such a good point. Like, why wouldn't, of all the times to not go back to the books and train like an absolute monster and just get yoked out and completely just push it to the next limit? It's just weird that in moments like this he decided not to. One thing before we continue with that kind of discussion, because I think that that's just such a great discussion talking about his further training after the Cell Saga. One thing that I will say, because this does seem like we're kind of shitting on Gohan quite a bit, but the one thing I do think is really redeemable, especially early on in the Dragon Ball Z series, is just Piccolo and Gohan's relationship. I really, really loved just how they were able to do that with Piccolo's character. Because remember, in Dragon Ball, Piccolo was actually the big bad. He was like one of the most big villains from that series. And now you see that when he even shows up on the island, he's not teaming up with Goku to fight Raditz out of, because he's homies. It's because it's out of a need. And, it's basically to kill two birds with one stone. Piccolo figures, I'll team up with Goku, we'll save his kid. That's kind of how it goes. But after Piccolo realized that the potential that Goku's son had, Gohan, I think that was such a great it's just a great relationship. I think that Piccolo and Gohan's relationship is probably one of my favorites in the whole series of Dragon Ball Z, if not the entire series. Even at the point where Nappa goes to hit Gohan with that shockwave, and Piccolo stands in the front with that iconic shot of him getting blasted. There's always just been a lot of great Piccolo and Gohan scenes. A lot of the movies as well, I think, are great. Then showing that kind of that relationship as well. But I mean, you pay it forward, and that's the beauty with Gohan. Even in the Super Saiyan 2 shot that Dali has in the background there, he's donning Piccolo's iconic blue belt and the purple outfit. So it's always just great to see that Gohan shows that respect back, and Piccolo it's kind of controversial to say maybe, but I feel like Piccolo was a real massive father figure to Gohan, because although
Goku's
Gohan
a
did,
pretty shitty dad.
yeah, I mean, realistically, I mean, I know he did have a biological dad that was alive and kicking most of the time. He didn't seem to give a shit. He was always off. Who's the strongest fighter? I love fighting. Just like he almost had like a deficiency in his brain. He didn't realize how to be a parent. It feels like Piccolo really did take that mantle, and it was kind of that great father, and he really pushed him as far as training, whereas it didn't seem like Goku gave too much interest whether or not Gohan became the most powerful there could ever be. I like to think that if Gohan was Vegeta's son, because Vegeta always wanted to have this pride filled take on training and all that sort of thing. I think if Gohan would have been Vegeta's son, we would have had a very different Z series. But it's hard to even quantify that as well, because once Vegeta realizes Trunks is his son, they don't really push it to the limit that much anyway. But they've always had these kind of oddball choices in the series. And again, I feel like we're just kind of shitting on Gohan a lot. Even though this is a series that we all it's very near and dear to our heart. It's just always unfortunate to see him kind of get completely cucked after the Cell Saga, in my opinion.
I'm gonna disagree with that because Gohan's my number 2 favorite character in the series, followed closely by Future Trunks, then Goku at number 4. So I just like you said, I just don't think he had enough opportunities to actually grow as a character, and that's the problem. It's not that we're shitting on Gohan. Gohan's like literally one of my favorite characters, period. It's just that they had so many things that they could have done with this important character, and they just let it go to the wayside, and it's just very disappointing. A thing I'll say is Piccolo and Gohan's relationship is amazing. I think it's probably the best relationship in all of the Z series. And even when they're on Kami's lookout just before the Cell Saga, Goku thanks Piccolo for, taking him under his wing. Like, he's really grown because of you. You know what I mean? Like, even Goku notices like he wouldn't be the same kid, have the same amount of power, the same amount of training. He was just a whiny little snot-nosed brat, you know what I mean? Just a baby. And then Piccolo took him out in the wilderness and made him live on his own for 6 months, and then actually took him under his wing and trained him. And I think that's one thing that I really liked about the Kakarot game. And I know I keep bringing this up. I just think it was a fantastically done game. But you got to see them train together, Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan train together. And you never really seen that in the Dragon Ball Z series. So it was really nice to really get that throwback, and get that. It's basically the same moment as in the series, where like I said, Goku thanks Piccolo for all his training, but they kind of elaborate it more on in the game. And I just think it was if it weren't for Piccolo, yeah, there wouldn't really be a Gohan. You know what I mean? Like he would have been killed immediately in the Saiyan saga, and it would have just been over for him. You know what I mean? But I think what Catlin brought up is a really, really good point. Because my point was going to be, what if Gohan never, like, what if he trained with Vegeta right after the Cell Saga the whole time, and they both kind of built on each other's strengths and like kept beating each other to death and getting stronger and stronger and stronger that way. But another good take on it is, what if Gohan was Vegeta's son? Like, what would his peak be? You know what I mean? He didn't have the relationship, Vegeta didn't have the relationship with Future Trunks, because I feel like they never had that time to bond. You know what I mean? The first time in the entire series that you even see Vegeta really get emotional, other than a small like 20-second thing on planet Namek when he's getting killed by Frieza, and he like tells Goku, just kill him, you know what I mean, please, for all the Saiyans. Like, you see a tear roll down his eye. The only other emotional moment Vegeta had was when he hugged Trunks right before he did his final atonement, right before he knocked Trunks out, and he's told Piccolo to get him out of here.
Well, actually, I would say another emotional moment he had was during the Cell Saga, when Future Trunks got pierced through the heart, and he sees his son is now dead in front of his very eyes.
The three
But
moments in the whole series.
yeah, so I mean, realistically, you have to really reach when it comes to those moments. But I feel like Trunks as Vegeta's son, it was kind of this weird dynamic where Trunks was always trying to really get his father's respect. Trunks always tried to really, really reach for that attention, whereas Gohan, it didn't feel like that was really the case. They always kind of just had it seem like Gohan and Goku had a good relationship, and it's as good as a father and son relationship could go. But it always felt like Trunks and Vegeta's was really strained. But I just can't imagine the mental blow to Vegeta's psyche now not only is Goku stronger than him, but his son is stronger than him. And his goal has always been set up to be like, I have to be better than Kakarot. All of a sudden, Kakarot's son comes around with Super Saiyan 2. It's surprising that Vegeta didn't kill himself at that point. He just was in second place, and he always was holding the silver medal. Now he has the bronze medal forced into his hands. So it's surprising that his Saiyan pride was able to take that mental blow.
I think the BoJack movie was really sweet, where you got to see the, Super Saiyan 2 come back, because you only really seen it for like the full Rage Super Saiyan 2 the one time in the actual canon, right? Obviously, you see it throughout the Majin Buu saga, but originally, like I said, it was supposed to end at the Cell saga. So seeing that in the BoJack movie, that he was pushed to that point again, and literally the jump from Super Saiyan, because he was getting his ass kicked by BoJack, like bad, like horribly bad, but then he went Super Saiyan 2 and literally just one shot him. Like, he really got to
that's
see
the
the
thing
power,
too,
right?
Is like the rage factor from the Cell Saga was the first time he's gone Super Saiyan 2, but Super Saiyan 2 in the BoJack movie felt more confident. It felt more, crisp. He's done it before. It was almost like he had this cocky kind of feel to it. Like I say, I think that I agree with that completely. I think Gohan in the BoJack movie was like incredible. I would have loved to see them kind of carry this character development with instead of, even if they didn't want to always go to the rage factor, just the fact that he almost had this kind of cocky attitude because he knew he was stronger once he achieved Super Saiyan 2, and forms beyond that. But realistically, I don't think that Gohan ever achieved a form beyond that. I don't think we've ever seen Super Saiyan 3. We've never seen Super Saiyan 4. So like I say, Gohan in his current state, if we're just going canon, with Super, he's basically just not even a character at all. He might as well just be furniture at this point, because he has no momentum as far as his character development. I think Trunks has had more character development. a character that is probably the most recent addition to the Z Fighters if you go chronologically. I think Trunks is just a more of a heavy hitter, and it's so unfortunate because it just feels like with Trunks it was kind of free. It wasn't really that earned because especially with future Trunks, he has that advantage of going through time and having information and strength and power. Gohan never really had that advantage. He's always having to work for it. And it just seems like he threw it all away just to study and not continue training, which I think was a massive oversight.
The thing is, though, if you really think about it, Gohan at any period in that's Kid Gohan would, as soon as he unlocked his Super Saiyan form, he would have rickrolled Trunks. You know what I mean? At any point in the series, you know what I mean? Trunks couldn't hold a candle to Gohan's actual potential. But yet, I feel like Trunks got the shining moments. You know what I mean? He was the one who defeated Frieza and King Cold. He was the one who actually put up with a fight against the androids for the first time. He literally was stronger than his dad when they came out of the hyperbolic time chamber. So if he never went perfect form, he could have been the one to defeat him. And he also went back in time, defeated both the androids and Cell. You know what I mean? So if you want to go on like feats of achievements alone for a character that was only in one saga, like really, he's got more under his belt than Gohan did. Because like, I don't get me wrong, the actual feat in itself, him going Super Saiyan 2 and defeating Ultra Perfect Cell, like that's an accomplishment. It's a massive one. But you also got to remember, Gohan in the Buu saga was literally the strongest character. Period. No matter how you slice it, no matter what you do, he was literally. If you go at the end when Goku was Super Saiyan 3 for the last time, Mystic Gohan was the strongest single character in the whole thing. That's even stronger than Boo. Like there was no character that was as strong without a fusion or without absorbing than Gohan. And even then he just let
They
you know
did nothing with it. They did
he
nothing with it. You think now he's Mystic State, they're going to do something in some kind of massive kind of coup de grace when he is the one who defeats Majin Buu? Nope, they did nothing with it. It was Vegeta kind of buying time before they hit him with the Spirit Bomb, which again, I think that's a really kind of great kind of tip of the hat to the Spirit Bomb, that they've used before. I always really love that technique. And the scaling, because before they used to do Spirit Bomb when it was like the planet's energy, and then when they do it with Kid Buu, it's a Super Spirit Bomb where they use the universe's power. So it's pretty interesting how they're able to scale that, and that's such a classic ability. But
Wasn't that originally the Spirit Ball where you just have the ball?
yeah,
Wasn't
and I
that the
think
original Super Saiyan?
Yamcha used that to
Mhm.
some degree where later they kind of really separated the two. Spirit Ball was Yamcha's like kind of special technique
that
where
he
he could
moved
move it
around.
around and it would hit people. And I think they were just trying to diversify between the two. Spirit Bomb is, in my opinion, the better technique. It's just the heavy hitter. It's the finisher. It's the super move that just ends the lives. Spirit Ball is kind of a fun technique. I think it's more fun than the Spirit Bomb, but it's kind of not anything that crazy. I don't think any major villain has ever been defeated with a Spirit Ball. But again, like I say, Yamcha's kind of got it anyways. It sometimes feel like Gohan fell into the realm of Yamcha and Tien and Chaozu near the end, and that's always such a crazy thing to think of because he was the strongest character in the series 2 times, and they did nothing with it.
No, and that's the thing. Even in Super, he was going toe to toe with Goku the whole time until he goes. I don't know if it was Blue Kaioken or if he just went blue, but he was actually like, even after not trading for all those years, you know what I mean, in Super, and then he was able to go toe to toe with Goku. And then, but Goku went Super Saiyan Blue and just like basically one shot him and then held him like a little baby and laid him on the ground. It's just really sad to see, like, even whether it's Super, whether it's Dragon Ball Z, GT, like the fact is they literally had that, like, a character that literally could have had unlimited potential and could have been like literally carried the series. And I don't think anybody would have complained, man. Like maybe there would have been people, Goku diehards that would have been like, oh, my boy Goku, but like he died so many times. He's always getting wished back. They could have just left him and let Goku or Gohan run the show. And I think Dragon Ball Z might have even been better for it. Who knows? When you get into Super and stuff like that with the whole God form and stuff like that, I don't know exactly how it would have played out, but I mean, it just seems like they had a character that could have done anything, and then 2 times. Well, obviously the one time he did get a shining moment in defeating Cell, but he literally was stronger than Gotank's Boo. Like how, like literally, like the strongest Boo that there was. Period. Even stronger than Kid Boo. He was stronger than that, and he just let himself get absorbed. It's just so, yeah, it's very frustrating from a diehard Gohan fan.
I'm with Carter's opinion. I think that Dragon Ball Z could have been so fresh and innovative if they really would have just pushed him as the main character. I think it only made sense. I think in a lot of regards it could have been really great. It feels like they really didn't want to stray away from the winning formula as much once they started to get into the routine of Vegeta and Goku are the most powerful. Let's keep it back to basic. Let's just have Goku and Vegeta do everything. They did it with the majority of Z, let's be fair. They did it with the majority of GT, and they did it with the majority of Super. I think that this is, it's surprising that not many people have criticized Dragon Ball as a series for this. In fact, I think people eat this shit up. They love the multicolored hairdos, and they love the pushing potential that these pure Saiyans have. But like I say, I've always really enjoyed when kind of not so much obscure characters get the forefront, but my favorite moments in Dragon Ball Z are when Piccolo fuses with Nail and he's going toe to toe with second form Frieza. I'm loving these moments where Tien is holding Cell in the pit and he's basically a human. So it's kind of crazy these moments that we get that are more obscure. I think it's a lot more fun and it's better writing when you see that. But when you always just have Goku and Vegeta come swoop in to save the day, I feel like it's not good writing, and it feels really lazy, and it just feels like they can just infinitely scale this forever and ever. Oh, Goku and Vegeta found green Super Saiyan. Oh, they found whatever next transformation. Oh, yellow Super Saiyan, but it's got a little silver streak in one of the hairs. Like they could just perpetuate that forever and ever. And that's one thing that I've always really I think that that's again why I really wasn't able to get into Super. I just felt like it was so played out. Goku is probably the most played out protagonist in the history of any anime for sure. A lot of series. I mean, again, Goku's the boy. He's the boy of boys. Everyone loves Goku. But I feel like, even Sean Shamel said it. It gets pretty tiring playing this goody goody character over and over. He actually sometimes would say that he felt it more entertaining and fun to play King Kai and sometimes Bubbles because it mixed it up. You can only be the hope of the universe so many times in a row for so many years until it gets pretty stale. And that's basically just what it is for me. I also feel that for someone who's the main character, makes a lot of strange decision making. And notably at the end of Z, it made no sense how he just decided to leave everyone behind and go train with Oob. That made no sense to me. It's like you'd think where the world is finally at peace and you don't have to constantly fight all the time. You'd want to spend time with your son and your wife, but that never seems to be Goku's that his plan at the time.
I believe Sean Schimmel actually talked about his role as playing Goku Black in Dragon Ball Super, how he found that was really interesting and refreshing just to be able to play this evil version of Goku and, change his voice and just kind of portray this villain, which he's never got to do in the series before. I believe there's an interview or something where he talks about that.
It's crazy to think that, yeah, like he's literally played the same role for so long and he plays it so well. He really does. But the problem is that I have with Goku, and don't get me wrong, I love Goku. I love Goku Super Saiyan, base form, Kaioken, Super Saiyan 2, SSJ3, Super Saiyan 4, Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan Blue, all of it. I love all of it. I'm a big fan of Z and Super. But the problem I have with it is he has more shining moments. And don't get me wrong, I understand he's a main character, but he has more shining moments than all the other characters in the entire series. And that's Vegeta, Trunks, Piccolo, like all of them. And it really seems like with the popularity that the other characters have in the series, that they could have used some of them more. Like, and a lot of people are going to get upset with me when I say this, but Vegeta to me still has not had his actual moment in the whole series. Like he hasn't.
That's
Like
so silly.
he hasn't had a moment where he defeats a big bad. He didn't
He
defeat
doesn't need to. He at one point was a big bad. He had an epic, like the first epic energy deadlock we've ever seen when the Gallic gun hit the Kamehameha. Then he scampers away. Then we have him when he has the most epic fight with Goku when he's Majin Vegeta. Even the Majin Vegeta stadium scene when he kills half the audience, you know. He even has a couple moments that are great when he's on Namek and he's just, you know, taking the Ginyu Force through the rents. He's killing Dodoria and Zarbon. So it's just like,
I'm just saying main characters wise, he's never actually carried a saga to the end. That's my
I
problem.
mean,
He's
but again,
always getting the guy before Frieza. You know what I mean? He was able to take out Dodoria Zarbon. You know what I mean? And then get his ass kicked by Raccoon. Okay, he comes back. Oh, he does good against second form Frieza. Oh, gets dumpster and gets killed by Frieza. And then it's like in the Cell Saga, he's like, he finally gets the chance. He's stronger than Cell. Oh my goodness, he's stronger than semi-perfect Cell. Oh, you just go fuse with the last android just because I know I can take you, and then gets his ass kicked again. And then obviously, if it weren't for him, our boy Gohan wouldn't have got the Super Kamehameha finish that he got because it was hit when he killed Trunks, that he
he hit
gave him
him
the
in the
Kai
back.
blast in the back of the head or in the side or whatever, and that's what gave Gohan the ability to give it that his last push to
But
win that.
that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. Is it's like you just went through a laundry list of shining moments Vegeta's had. You know what I mean? But one thing I will agree with you is, but no one has got their ass kicked more than Vegeta. He is the prince of getting his ass kicked. It seems, and he gets his ass kicked great. You know, one of the notable ones is when one of the androids breaks his arm and he's on the ground. Oh. So like I've always loved seeing Vegeta get his ass kicked. I think that you know I don't think that there's ever been a sequence where, you know, Gohan has really got worked too hard. Um, you know, I think a lot of I think obviously Goku and Vegeta have the, you know, the or have the crowns as far as, you know, getting worked goes, but I don't think Gohan's ever got worked too hard. I think that that's another reason why it seems like there could have been these moments where he's getting pummeled or his dad's getting pummeled or one of his friends is getting pummeled and he unlocks another stage of like a power that like he hasn't reached before. So I just feel like it's you know, it seems like the decisions they make over that studio, just business as usual. It's a formula that works, and it's a formula that people seem to just absolutely
That is true.
never critique. It's just weird to me. I see a lot of people who critique a lot of things and a lot of different series and a lot of different animes, especially where it's like there's this one glaring thing where people will be like, well, that's kind of not really great writing, or that's not really a great decision that you guys are doing. But no one ever critiques the Dragon Ball franchise for having Goku and Vegeta just the top dogs all the time. And it's something that I've noticed even, you know, midway through Z, and it was kind of tiring and boring. That's why I feel like the movies, in my opinion, like the Dragon Ball Z movies are just better than the series, and better than Super, and in a lot of ways better than Dragon Ball. I just love the way that the movies are just so dynamic and they don't stick to the script. And you know, like I say, I think that when it comes to Gohan, I think that he is a great character. I think that he had a lot of potential that he never really unlocked, so to speak. I mean, obviously in the series, but also just as a character in general. And that's always unfortunate to see. But you know, Gohan does have a massive following as far as people that think he's a great character. And like I think that he has had a lot of great moments. And like I said before, and I touched on it, my favorite moments with Gohan are actually the ones with Piccolo. Those are the ones that that really meant a lot to me in the series, watching it when I was a kid and stuff. Like I say, it's not always about these power spikes and these power scalings. It's not always about these epic fights. I think there's a lot of character to the series in general and the franchise. And I think that it's when we're talking about Gohan and talking about like what he brings to the table, that's one thing that I think a lot of people could agree with is just his relationship with his essentially surrogate father, who is Piccolo. Piccolo has always been this character that has not really been humanized up until that point. He always felt like he was just a combatant for Goku, especially in Dragon Ball with the tournaments and like even being a previous villain. It was nice to see that now this previous villain has taken kind of this warm-hearted approach with Gohan, and that's the thing that I've always thought was great.
So I think we've touched on a lot, but just since we're nearing the end of the episode, I feel like we should touch on the what if just a bit. So we're at the end of the Cell Saga. Goku's dead. And I know you guys have actually watched, I haven't actually watched past the Frieza saga, so you guys have a little bit more knowledge on the subject. But I know Goku's dead, but there are a few moments where he's able to come back. I believe that's probably something to do with the Kais. I'm not too sure. But so yeah, let's just get the what if going.
Okay, so Goku basically gets a free day pass from Master Roshi's sister, Baba, or whatever her name is. So he basically gets to come back for 24 hours to compete in the world tournament. So he doesn't come back from that 11 years from when Gohan's 11 to when Gohan's 16. He doesn't come back. So he comes back for the world tournament basically. So he never even sees Gohan. He must have knocked Chi Chi up and then died. And then so Goten's born, and then obviously he comes back for the beginning of the world tournament, and then he doesn't even get to fight in the world tournament because Gohan goes up against one of Babadi's henchmen, and then he goes Super Saiyan 2, which is sweet. So you see that he actually has that potential. He goes Super Saiyan 2, and then he gets jabbed with this urn thing or whatever, and his power sucked out of him or whatever, and he just
Popovich
goes,
hit him with the drain.
yes, Popovich. Yeah, and that man, that was to me weak writing as well. I get what they were going with. They had to take that energy back to summon Boo or whatever, but it was just lame to see him finally go Super Saiyan 2 again after all these years, and then just get bipped by somebody who's nothing. You know what I mean? Like in the big scale.
But that's the thing. Carter does kind of pull it back to that what if. What if he didn't study? What if in the whole time him and Goten started training super heavily? I would have loved to see the potential that Goten could have had. He was the second person to ever do the fusion. And obviously Gotenks was conceived, and I think at the time
First.
Oh, right, the
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
So it was really interesting to see Go Tanks, because I feel like this was a really fresh kind of route that they were taking for once. They take Chibi Trunks and Chibi Goten, and they're able to create this other massively powerful fusion, and that was able to go toe to toe in some regards with Boo. I think that that was a really, really
Super Boo too.
a really fresh take that they took. I would have loved to seen an arc where Gohan and Goten trained like absolute units. I wish I would have loved to see this kind of Spartan-esque training regiment that Gohan put Goten through, because if you remember History of Trunks, Gohan is an absolute badass and he's training Trunks like crazy. I would have loved to seen that kind of Gohan translate into kind of an alternate future where Goten and Gohan are going hardcore, and that's all Goten is known as hard training. And then who knows, they could have fused at some point to make Go-Go. And I would have loved to see Go-Go really just take it to the Matthews Bridge with some of the power scaling that they could have had. So it's fun to think of the what ifs, especially after the Cell Saga. After the Cell Saga was completed, what they could have done with that character.
Well, the thing for me is that there was four Saiyans, so there's I guess three half-blood Saiyans, and then Vegeta. So like, what if they all trained? You know what I mean? What if Vegeta and Gohan kind of took the reins and trained Goten and Trunks? You know what I mean? It's crazy to think of like, what if Goten and Trunks were able to go Super Saiyan 2? You know what I mean? And then fuse. Could they have unlocked like Super Saiyan 4 or some weird spin-off of Super Saiyan 3? And when Vegeta went Majin Vegeta as Super Saiyan 2 and went toe to toe with Goku, like what happens if Majin Vegeta just wiped the floor with Goku because she was training with Gohan the whole time, because Gohan was the first one to unlock Super Saiyan 2. No one had unlocked anything else like that. So you know what I mean? Like it's hard to say because you never really see a character that's a half-blood Saiyan go Super Saiyan 3, but when they fuse, they can go Super Saiyan 3. So it's like
I think that that's honestly a continuity error. I don't think that that was by design. I realistically don't think that's by design. I think that they just wanted to do this thing where it's like, well, Gotenks has to go Super Saiyan 3 because Goku has to go Super Saiyan 3 before that. So they have to have him in the same contention as far as in the ring with Goku, as powerful as he is. But I know that that's always been something we talked about when we were younger, especially the fact that we used to speculate that when you're a halfling, maybe you're able to achieve a state of Super Saiyan that you can't achieve in your base form unfused, because technically speaking, there's no reason that Gotenks should have been able to go Super Saiyan 3. It made absolutely no sense. But I'm sticking to the point that I think that's a continuity error. I think that number one, there's two main reasons why they allowed him to go Super Saiyan 3. For the series, I think it was just they had to have him go toe to toe with Goku Super Saiyan 3 as far as like being able to best Majin Buu, because Goku wasn't able to best Majin Buu in Super Saiyan 3. So having a base state Gotenks would.
He never even fought Super Buu. So
no,
yeah,
he didn't fight Super Buu, but I'm saying he just like when he fought Buu, he didn't beat him, right? So it's like they have to have Gotenks in some way be more of a threat than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And if they did it in a way that base form Gotenks was, then that would just mean that fusing together as a Saiyan with the dance is way more broken than it would have ever been. But the second reason why I think they did it is just to sell more toys, because you got to remember these transformations and stuff. Originally, the whole transformation, Super Saiyan, and all these fusions and all that sort of thing were just a way for them to sell more toys. And it worked. It's a phenomenal way to sell more toys when it's like, oh, well, I have Goku, but I don't have Goku Super Saiyan. Oh, I don't have Goku in Kaioken form, right? It was always this kind of the kind of a collect them all kind of feeling with the transformations, even though in the series it works out really good and feels really good when they have all these transformations. But it's kind of crazy when you think about it. It was just a marketing thing.
I don't think it was a marketing thing at all.
100%.
I'm definitely,
100%.
I will
100%.
definitely, okay, you can keep saying 100%.
I'll take that to the grave. That is
Okay.
100% why they did
We
it.
will check, I will literally check that after, because I think obviously it's a scaling thing, because you can't really scale any higher than your current form that you're in. Like there's only so far you can take the power level thing, because they stopped using power levels midway through the Frieza saga, or maybe at the end they said Frieza's like at 1,000,000, and then after that you completely don't use power levels anymore. So I think the form thing was the
Selling
whole thing.
toys, baby. Selling toys. That's why they did it.
Okay.
Next topic.
Okay, take it away, Caddy.
I don't even know. But yeah, so that's the thing. I think that basically we've kind of touched on the what if with Gohan and what they could have done with that character. I'd love to hear other people's opinion on what could have potentially happened. I think it's really fun to kind of go down these routes and talk about the potential of a beloved character in a series that is really, really important to us. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Really thanks again for tuning in, and that we'll see you later.
Peace.
Later.